Hello, welcome to the Industrial Craft 2 or IC2 Windmill tutorial. This will be mostly a basic tutorial. We'll cover most of the aspects of windmills. I think most people skip windmill power. I'm not really sure why. Probably because it doesn't produce much. Let's go over the construction first. Okay, you take a furnace, you turn it into an iron furnace, either placing the furnace here with 5 iron or 8 iron makes an iron furnace. And then you create a generator with the iron furnace, 3 refined iron, and an RE battery. This is the recipe for the RE battery. 4 tin ingots, 2 on either side, 2 redstone, copper cable makes an RE battery, and this creates a generator. You'll need generators to make windmills. Then to make a windmill, you take the generator in the middle of your crafting table and 4 pieces of iron on each corner. It's probably the biggest reason windmills are of value is they're fairly simple to create, not quite as expensive as solar panels, and once you hook them up you don't do anything. You don't have to worry about night or day cycles or anything else. So how do we use these? Well, let's go up here into our fancy little energy station. So I've placed some windmills in different patterns here. There's a windmill right here on the roof itself. There's a windmill here on a tin cable out in the middle of space. There's one going up and then over, and then there's one going up, over, and then up again. You might say, well, what's with these crazy shapes? Let's go over one of the major rules of windmills. First of all, windmills generate power based on their height in the world. So windmill placed right here, in theory, will create less energy than one placed right there, in a higher space. But the other most important rule is that this glass block represents all of the space that cannot contain a block. So in other words, when you hook up the generator, there's going to be some cabling. Those cable blocks will reduce the effective height of the windmill by one space or one block. So every windmill will be reduced in height by at least 2 blocks. So if you place it, if you look at the map, you can see the roof here is level 74. So any generator placed here, windmill generator, would be minimum level 72 for calculation purposes. Now that's not a huge deal. I've read that level 80 is optimal without a chance of the windmill breaking. We'll talk about the breakage here in a little bit. I've got some windmills way up there too. We'll talk about those too. So back to the spacing. The space requirements are the level of the generator and 2 spaces below it and 4 spaces to either side. So here's the windmill, 1, little lag, 2, 3, 4, and then to the other side 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's true in a cube, so you can go 4 spaces. Really there's no front, back, or sides. It doesn't matter how the windmill's placed. Every side is the same. Connection points don't matter. You can attach the cable anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again to the other side 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a 4x4 cube horizontally, and then vertically it's 2 spaces below and 1, 2, 3, 4 above. 4 spaces above, 2 below. So right there, that tells you the best place to bring your cable in is from the bottom. If you bring your cable in from the side, you're going to block 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces before you can attach. You're going to reduce your height by 4. If you bring your cable in from the top, you're going to reduce it by 4. So the best place is to come in from the bottom with your attachments, because then you'll only reduce the effective height by 2 spaces. Now, all blocks, glass, redstone, torches, everything counts. So really you want these windmills just in empty space. You don't want anything around them. So right away we can see this generator has all kinds of material in its block, in its space. So its effective height is greatly reduced. This windmill I've placed conveniently 1, 2, 3, 4, several spaces actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 So it's away from the building, but it's the cabling's coming in from the side. So the cabling has 4 blocks blocking it. So that's not an ideal. But we'll compare the output of this generator to this generator. They're on the exact same level, and we'll see how they compare. These two generators are on the exact same level, but we have the same situation. This one, the cabling goes down 2 spaces, really 3. There's only cable in 2 spaces, and then we go over and down, which really we could have went straight down, but I needed to get it away from this one. And then this one comes in from the side. So not only do we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, but these two as well are still in the safety zone, or the effective zone. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. So this generator is effectively 6 blocks lower than that one. So the way this should work, that box should produce the least, that one next, then this one, then that one should produce the most. So let's have a look. Let's hook up some bat boxes and see. Now I have noticed sometimes there's a little glitch where it doesn't produce power. You can either, some people have said you can put a piece of dirt next to the windmill and then break it, or you can even take the windmill off and replace it, which in this particular mode that's not a problem. So let's hook up a bat box here. Let's hook up a bat box here. Now this one actually doesn't produce anything. So wind power, there's a variable. The variable changes how much production there is, and then it calculates the variable against the height, subtracting any obstructions. So this windmill may at times produce power. The other thing we can do, right click the windmill, this sign here will fill up if it's producing any power, regardless of whether it's attached. So in other words, even if we have no cabling attached, you can always check the windmill's placement and see if it's producing. So this says it's not producing any power, and that production is based off of obstructions as well. This one as well says it's not. So let's replace these. Let's pop that off of here, and whoop, hit the wrong button. I need a new driver's license. Okay, that one's still not producing. Let's go over here, and you'll hear a little, well, maybe. Sometimes you can hear them. Oh, there it made a little noise. A little wind fart. It's breaking wind here. Very confusing. Should be just a little bit of power eking through. Let's check the bat box over here. Yep, there's just a little power generation. This one's still 0, and I've put brand new windmills up, so that one there is making just a little bit of power. Now let's hook up our next one. Oh, much faster. See how slow that is? That's about 2 a second roughly. And that one's much faster. Let's hook up this other one. And remember, these two windmills, this one and this one, are at the same height, but this one has more cable in the way. Oh yeah, that one's faster. In fact, we have an EU reader, and the way that works, you click and it starts a measurement, and you click again, and it's showing 0.35 EU per tick, average over 57 ticks. So if I click it twice fast, it only caught 5 ticks, and it's up to 0.4. So if I click it once, okay, it's restarting. Okay, let's start there. 0.38. Let's go over here. It's 0.4, 0.42, 0.38. So it's still variable, but it's there's 0.45. It's averaging a higher rate than over here. Over here it's dropping below 0.3 some of the time. Over here, 0. Okay, see, there's very minimal amounts. And again, you'll notice it varies because the equation takes into account that the wind's not a constant rate. And if we go over here, we're going to see zeros, which was already confirmed because we didn't have any power generation. 0. Now here's the other thing you'll note. At night, compared to solar, we still generate. These things are on 24/7, which is really 10 minutes, 10 minutes, right? 10-minute day, 10-minute night. Now the other thing we can do, let's turn on the rain. Supposed to be in rain, they produce 20% more power. Now whether or not that'll work here in creative mode, I don't know, but let's give it a shot and see. Let's measure. This is still 0. This might be higher. Yeah, this one might be higher. Kind of hard to tell. It's supposed to be 20% higher. Oh yeah, 0.5. This one looks higher. For sure. I don't know if it is for sure, but it looks higher for sure. So as you can see, one windmill is giving very low power. Let's turn that rain off. And the rain's not making a huge deal. Now if you have a thunderstorm, it's supposed to be 50%. Now the problem with these is that above level 80, they're supposed to have a small chance, and then the higher they go, much greater chance of breaking. And the reason is, anytime you go over 5 EU per tick generation, then your risk of breakage increases. Now, I don't know. I haven't used them that much. I personally would want to put them up and forget about them. I don't want to have to go check and see if they're broken. You know, constantly replace them. But I would think you could put them up a good little ways, and the chances, the risks are still pretty small. 90 to 100 is supposed to be ideal for a really small chance of breakage. And again, that's usually only during rainstorms and thunderstorms, because the output is increased during that time, and therefore the risk of going over 5 EU per tick is much greater. So what I've got built here is a basic tower. You can make any kind. You can. I've got it kind of split up here, cut away, if you will. Let's go inside the tower, and we'll talk about the individual components. Imagine that this side is closed, and you have a ladder and then a conduit, and then the other side of the ladder would be closed, but I've got it stripped open because I want a couple of different cable options to show, you know, the differences in cabling and the way you would structure these. So your tower, you would climb up to the top, and you'll see I've got a bunch of bat boxes on the right with copper, and then straight copper on the left. And then up here at an equal height, I have 2 bat boxes on either side, and then tin cable from that point upwards, and a break between them to stop them from generating any electricity. Or I should say EU, but it's electricity in the sense that it's electrical energy. So then you would come to the top of your tower. You would normally step off to the left because that wouldn't be there. But what we've got here is we've got a couple, actually we've got 3 hooked up windmills. And let's check these. Let's right click them. Okay, we're showing a decent amount of wind they're just dropped a little bit. And again, that's because of the variability in the wind. And these are all in optimal placement. They're all 2 spaces down and then 4 spaces over, so that anything that's in this area won't affect the other one, like so. And these are single windmills connected to each wire. So what I've got is, on this side I've got tin cable all the way down. On this side I've got tin cable down 39 spaces to a bat box, because after 40 spaces tin loses an EU. And then from that point I've got copper all the way down. Reason is, bat box outputs 32, so you lose 1 EU every 5th space, but even if you're losing as you head down, you're going to still have power at the end, because you're starting out with 32 EU sent out from the bat box. The other side, you can see it from the ladder, but it's hard to see here, is every 5th space is a bat box. That's extremely expensive early on. If you're building that many bat boxes, you could probably build something other than a windmill. So that's our setup. So let's see what kind of production we get. Now to hook these up, I've got bat boxes at the bottom. Let me double check that. Make sure I do. It's a little bit scary. Alright, if I hook this one up, it's got a direct connection, so we're going to wait. Alright, let's go up here and switch to bat boxes. Now your bat boxes, the output will face you, so I want to look upwards when I hook up these bat boxes. Or actually, the bat box is already connected. I just have to connect the cabling. And then we should get power generation down below. Alright, little shift button action. Connect, connect. And then let's go down and see what we got going on down here. And we'll hook up a bat box on the far tin cable. Anybody have any guesses what's going to happen? Let's go ahead and hook this one up as well. Alright, this cable, nothing. Nada. This one probably 0 as well. So, what do we got to do? Well, let's take the quick route. Let's go outside, fly up. We got to reset our stinking generators. Let's try the put a block next to it and break it trick. See if it works. Now to do that, you have to hold shift. And if I do that, I'm going to drop. So let's do it real quick. There we go. That's supposed to wake it up and reset the block. I'm not fast enough. That's ridiculous. Okay. Now let's go see what's happening. Let's see what kind of power generation we got. Okay, this still says 0. Well, that didn't work at all. Well, I'm not even going to bother with dirt. Let's just put new windmills on. This is probably the biggest reason not to use windmills. Although you're probably going to hook them up when you're ready and not be playing all these games of not being hooked up. Okay, one on the left there. You're getting packets, rather large packets, from the bat box output. This side should be more, and it is. That's because each bat box outputs only 4 cable lengths to the next bat box, so you have absolutely no loss. This one was actually, this side was hooked up first, this one just a few seconds later. But they're exact same level, they should be outputting the most, but you have cable loss on this side. This side's 10 all the way down, you got zip. And the reason is, the windmill's only putting out, oh, I don't know, maybe 2 EU per tick. Let's go see. Let's go see if this will tell us. We'll use this meter. Well, it's saying 0. That's not good. Why would it do that? Alright, let's try this meter again. Could just be that nothing flows. Alright, if I put a bat box, let's do that. Let's get some flow. This should show flow now. Yeah, so it's showing it's less than 2 EU. So the point is, if you travel 80 spaces, the first 40 you're going to lose in EU. The next 40, you're going to lose all the power that's left in this line if it's producing 2 or less. And that's why you can't just run 10 all the way down. Even though it's a low loss, like diamond. And the same thing, if you ran diamond all the way down here, all the way down with no breaks, you'd lose it all because you're producing hardly anything. So after the first 40 spaces, tin and diamond are the same in loss for this kind of output. Now if you hook up a high output like a low voltage to 10, it'll fry. So you can't use, after your first break, you have to use something other than 10. Now you could step it down with a low voltage transformer and continue to use 10. That is an option. In fact, I wish I'd built that. But that would be an option in this particular case. You could go down here to this first break, and you could put a bat box or even a low voltage transformer. I think a low voltage transformer would work, outputting extreme low voltage, and continue with your 10. But then before your next 40, you'd have to put in another low voltage transformer or bat box low voltage transformer combo. So that's that. So that kind of shows you the output, the variability. I think one other thing I wanted to do, yeah, see that? That's very poor. Let's real quick, let's go back up there, and on our optimal side, which is all the bat boxes, let's get rid of this because this is going to be in the way. Let's add, well, yeah, easier said than done. 4, 1, 2, and this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and let's get rid of this side. Now, since these are all equidistant from the center, let's change this to noon. One, two, three, 4. Actually, you know what? No, there's nothing in the middle. We're fine. Whoops, too many. There, those are all equidistant. There should be enough space. I might be one too close. In fact, I know I am. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next one. So let's change that real quick. Otherwise, we're just going to have power drop. This is going to be your basic, simple structure. This is without getting really crazy designs. You know, flower patterns and all that weird stuff. I should say weird. More thoughtful designs. This is going to be your basic setup. Get this done real quick. This video is already gone a little longer than I want for a basic tutorial. Alright, so there's your 4 hookup. Let's head back down there. And now we're creating much more power, much more. So those 4 windmills are about equal to 4 solar panels, probably a little bit more as far as per tick. But the advantage is they're never going to stop. They don't go out during the night cycle, and you find with your solar, if it rains during the day, you've got no power. So your wind won't ever stop. In fact, when it does rain, it's going to increase your power, if only slightly. Now let's not bother with it. Yeah, let's turn it on and just see if there's any change. So what I'm thinking here, what I'm recommending, is when you're starting out, throw yourself up a couple of solar panels, throw yourself up a couple you know, windmills. Like if you've got a building or you're in a hill or wherever you're at, bring yourself up a little bit of tin, throw yourself a couple windmills, just a few spaces up. They're not going to be super high, but they're going to be constant power. They're gonna supplement your energy, you know, forevermore. And they're very easy to make. They're cheap. They're easy to move. You have to be careful. You can't use a pickaxe on them, or they'll revert to a generator. You have to use a wrench. But we'll talk more about wrenches in another video. So that's the basics. The one other thing we'll do, we'll eyeball the cable here with the meter. Yeah, it's still 3.2 here. It's almost up to 5. There's 0. So there's gusts. And that should be the same because it's coming out of a bat box. Here's what I really want. I want to see what kind of power we're getting here before we hit the bat box. 4 windmills. So 4 windmills is easily almost 3. Let's shut the rain off. See if it changes. Give it a second. Yes, I hear you, wind chime. Huh. Is that more? That might be more than the rainstorm. Extremely odd. So with a few extra windmills, you're going to really bring in your energy, even if you don't go super high. But you have lots of options. I think wind's kind of exciting. I think it's interesting, and it's certainly something you shouldn't forget about. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment. Feel free to like and subscribe. Give me requests on things that you'd like to see, and look forward to playing more Minecraft with mods, and specifically the Technic launcher. Aloha and mahalo.